All right, welcome to the finals now of the Mind Game Mages tournament that took place in Berlin. I am Max, a player from the Berlin, Erfurt community and member of the council for about a year now.
And I'm Paul. I am from Vienna and I'm playing a lot of Highlander. And today we are happy to bring you the Mind Games Mages tournament.
All right, so we have Tobias with a 5-color Scapeshift deck on the left, and Niels with Grixis Tempo on the right. 5-color Scapeshift, I think, is a little unusual. Most lists I have seen are 4 colors and don't include white.
Yes. So in this case, actually, white is playing a big role in Tobias's deck because he has strong cards like Teferi Time Reveler, Timely Reinforcements, Fractured Identity. And in his case, actually, red is the smaller splash. He's only playing, I think, Renan 6 and the Lightning Bolt in red.
Yes, so this is something that most Scapeshift lists have to deal with. Those are basically non-red decks, but they have to play mountains for the instant kill. And I think having white here is interesting, is reasonable, because instead of playing some bad mountains like Sheltered Thicket or Smoldering Marsh that you usually have to play to up your mountain count, he can play the red-white duels
Yes.
and basically splash the 5th color more or less for free, I think.
So both players are mulliganing, which I think was a nice choice by both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, you also saw the red card, which is a great classic in 4-color Scapeshift, is of course Huntmaster of the Fells. So that's the 3rd card he has in red.
Yeah, and I think Huntmaster is a very good card to stabilize because Scapeshift needs to get through the early game in order to make land drops, play things like 3 visits, Skyshore Claim to get to 7 lands. And Huntmaster of the Fells is very good in stabilizing the board against more aggressive opponents.
And Niels is on his Grixis Tempo list. I actually have never seen Grixis Tempo against Scapeshift played, despite having people who play these decks in my meta. So do you know what to expect, Max?
I think this is more or less an even matchup. In general, the Grixis deck has a good matchup against pure combo decks. But Scapeshift can take a lot of roles. So it has a controllish side. It can also go for more mid-rangey plan with bigger creatures, and even win without Scapeshift. But you incidentally also have the instant kill with Scapeshift or Bring to Light. And the hand disruption that and counter spells that Grixis have access to are very, very helpful in this matchup.
Yes.
But sometimes your opponent just gets or draws Scapeshift from the top, which can end the game. And but if you don't pressure your opponent, you cannot give the Scapeshift deck too much time. So you cannot play the game that you keep mana up all the time, and it's very, very different to sequence, I think.
I believe so too, because one of the things, at least in other ramp matchups, which is a problem for tempo decks, is sometimes they have too many lands and your mana leaks and spell pierces actually do not count for much. That can actually happen.
Yes. Right. This is also a problem. Those soft counters, and Grixis plays quite a lot of them. Get useless pretty fast.
So they decided to keep their mulligans. On Tobias's side, we have actually a very nice mix of cards, with Teferi especially being crippling for Niels because he turns down all interaction. And Niels has the Stifle, which when could be very nice, has a Jace Rin's Prodigy, which loots him through the useless cards, and a good threat in Gurmagangler.
Yes, right. I think both players have a good mix of spells here. And Niels leads with the untapped land instead of the creeping tar pit, which I think is a fine choice because stifling a fetch land early can really make your opponent stumble.
Especially against a deck which needs a lot of lands. But Tobias has an impulse which can dig safely for lands in this case.
Yes. So he sees 2 lands, evasive action, search for Skunter. I think it's pretty safe to pick the Misty Rainforest here.
I mean, the question is it, because of course he cannot know about Niels's Force Spike, but he has a green source and his cards could be countered by Force Spike also. So maybe I would prefer, but I'm not a Scapeshift player, to take a sure land drop which could not be stifled, or Tails Ended, which is also a card I see a lot of Grixis lists play.
Yes,
and then play the Kodama's Reach, or this is Cultivate. Yes.
Cultivate, right. But you have to take into account that the non-fetch land he had in the Impulse was a mountain.
Yeah.
And you want to have as many mountains in your deck as possible.
Yes, that was the problem with the mountain. That's what I thought could be a problem. He is playing
10 mountains.
10 mountains. Yeah, he's playing 10 mountains. So of course, this is actually a hindrance, as you said. Yes. A very good card, of course, which does not care about mountains, but is a late game advantage machine. Maybe not that relevant in this game. Is the Field of the Dead, which gave Scapeshift a complete new avenue to play the long game.
Yes. I think Field of the Dead is a great addition to Scapeshift. You can even try out versions that don't play the Valakut. And only go for Field of the Dead and play more of a lands type deck. And with Field of Ruin you don't need the Scapeshift kill. You can just make your land drops in the late game and get a constant stream of zombie tokens. And I think against most decks, even Scapeshift, getting Field of the Dead and not Valakut is more or less lethal.
Yes. But it's still, I think, very nice to have the Valakut in the deck, because you can, against combo decks, you can just kill on the spot, basically.
Yes.
Okay, there comes the mana drain, and it hits. Is it the Cultivate?
Cultivate, I think.
Yeah, the Cultivate, which he played, and that is 3 mana, which actually enables him, if he decides to play the Gurmagangler. No?
Yes. I think it's a good choice to drain the Cultivate, just to slow your opponent down, mana drain effectively ramps you. So now he has quite a lot of possibilities.
It is especially advantageous because Tobias did not have a land drop in hand for the next turn, so he can keep the ramping quite down, which is very nice for Niels to do.
Yes, and as long as your opponent doesn't have seven lands on the battlefield, you don't have to worry too much about what the Scapeshift deck does. As we said, we can the deck can go for a more mid-rangey plan, but in most cases, the Grixis tempo deck is the better deck for those kinds of games.
Now, this is very challenging for Tobias. He has 4 very good cards, 2 which are answers for the permanents, which are, right now down there. Teferi is a temporary answer, but he also needs to get lands. So,
he needs lands, and he doesn't have a black source at the moment for something
you're
like
right.
Rock Decay.
So I guess he's getting rid of 2 black cards? Is that what he would be doing?
Yeah, I think so. I think you get rid of either the Baleful Strix or Fatal Push. So next time, Baleful Strix I think is the better choice because
the Strix.
Yeah, Fatal Push can get rid of the Jace permanently. Now he will most likely have to bounce Jace.
Yeah, Jace would be
come down next turn.
Jace would be flipping next turn. On the other hand, it is also always very nice to have Teferi on a high loyalty against Grixis and Timur tempo style decks because it shuts down interaction.
Yes, and he still misses the land drop.
Oh,
and here we see the Seasoned Pyromancer, and I think this is a very, very good card now in this situation because you can just create 2 more tokens, pressure Teferi, and get rid of it.
Yeah, get new cards, get out maybe next turn a Gurmag Angler or this turn a Gurmag Angler on the cheap if he decides to throw away Jace and Ponder, Preordain.
Yes.
But this is a very interesting spot because he has very good choices in all of his cards actually to play.
Yes, I think so too. But I would go for the Pyromancer here. Jace doesn't do a whole lot now.
Yes.
There's not much action in the graveyard, and Jace is quite slow. And Seasoned Pyromancer might even draw a black source.
Yes.
To play the Gurmag Angler immediately, and this would enable him to tick up Liliana without having to discard anything. No.
Yeah.
Wait. One card.
Yeah, maybe if he gets a land, and you're right, 1 card, but he decides on the play you said, and I think also this is really a very good play with very nice cards to discard, and he actually gets good cards and a black source, so he can mount on really much of pressure.
Yeah,
if he decides to.
Yeah, I think he will go for Misty Rainforest, getting Underground Sea, play Gurmag Angler, and since Tobias has been missing land drops now, it will be very, very difficult for him to handle this. Also with an Liliana getting closer and closer to Ultimate. And losing the Brainstorm here is not much of a downside when you have this good of a board position, I think.
Absolutely, because the only things which actually are relevant happen on 4 or 5 mana for Tobias, because he can have a Damnation, but most of the time he can get the Damnation with something like Bring to Light, Dark Petition, something like Demonic Tutor, but that takes a lot of mana. So I think just really pressuring Tobias's life total, ignoring the chase, maybe even to get a faster clock on.
Yes.
No, he can hit with, that's okay. It's a 2-turn, it's a 3-turn clock in both ways, right? Yeah, it's 4-9. So he can even take the Teferi out without losing without losing a turn. Yes.
And Niels actually decided to not tick up Liliana, which I think is also a good decision. In case something goes horribly wrong, and the opponent being able to remove your board somehow, you still have a very powerful card giving you more card selection and letting you see extra cards.
Yeah, I agree with you, Max, because there's no need to ulti the Liliana actually, because his board is a right now it's only a 2-turn clock, and Lily ults in 2 turns, so it's better, I think, to have some strong spell to find interaction, and that's what Niels decided to do. So is this the case where you just ignored Teferi because you hit for 9? I mean, he drew the giant, so he can take care of Teferi anyways. But the 2-turn clerk is very strong.
Yeah, that's a tough decision. Teferi, I mean, it it avoids that you can play cards at instant speed, which is very annoying for the Grixis player, because you really want to interact with your opponent also at instant speed. But yeah, taking the 2-turn clock might be the better play here.
You can see that Niels was pondering a lot about the decision too. We do not know what they were talking, and if he is now attacking Tobias directly, but it looked from the wave of the hand that it goes straight at Tobias.
Yeah, I think so too. And if Tobias removes one of the creatures, he still has the giant to shoot 2 damage either directly to Tobias' face or to kill the Teferi. And also with the creeping tar pit, he's very likely to have lethal on the next turn.
Does he have a creep? Yeah, right. It was a creeping tar pit. Oh, yeah, this is very strong. So he can actually afford to play sorcery speed against Tobias.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Thoughtseize.
Thoughtseize and Spell Pierce.
The Spell Pierce maybe not that relevant if he does not decide to shoot down the Teferi, but he can decide after he Thoughtseizes anyway.
Yes, right. So yeah, I think Spell Pierce is not the best card in this spot. Yeah, he puts it away together with the Watery Grave.
And here comes the Thoughtseize. I think he sees, what you take? Tobias still does not have a black sorcerer. No, he has the Watery Grave.
Yes, he has the Watery Grave. So I think it's very likely that Tobias responds with either Abrupt Decay or the Fatal Push. Yeah, maybe even the Remand to make him to make Niels spend 1 more mana and get 1 card deeper into the deck.
Mm-hmm. So he takes, a very interesting choice by Tobias, but I can understand, because after the brainstorm, Niels may decide to tick up the Liliana. So, yes. And he needs a kind of, Okay,
so now he gets rid of the Teferi.
So, Timely Reinforcements, I think, is the card which can save him quite a lot.
Yeah, this would buy a lot of time.
Renin 6 is a very strong card, but it does only take out a soldier token. He has a Fatal Push, so he can take out 2 soldier tokens, which is not enough, actually, from his point of view.
Yes. With Renin 6, he could also take up to 4, take the Misty Rainforest, I think, but yeah, he decides this is not enough. Too much pressure on board, and Niels wins.